Amigos in Milan, flipping it quick, trying to hit a lick. Gucci shopping, Versace fly, proud of living, getting it in. We don't do that.
Ciao, buongiorno a tutti ragazzi, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope everybody's enjoying the break and the downtime wherever you are and whatever time it is in the world. And I'm joined by two very beautiful human beings. Christian Rivas, how you doing?
Feeling extra gorgeous and sexy after you said that.
That's the one, man. And Mario, how you doing, my man?
Chilling, what's going on?
Just enjoying that downtime, bro.
What?
We got a lot to get through this podcast. It's going to be a really good one. We're basically doing a yearly wrap-up of what Inter has gone through this season. We're going to talk a lot more about Serie A in general, about some of the winners and the losers in the first half of the season. We're going to go on to speak about some of our rivals and, of course, the Mercato as well. Just obviously putting this out there at the start, we're not actually at the midway point of the season. We are only at the end of 2019. 17 match days have been played, meaning that we need to play 2 more match days before the end of the season, and those will be our topics of conversation towards the end of the podcast. So in order to start this episode off, I'm just going to throw out a very broad question. Christian, man, how are you feeling about how Inter has finished the year? Give me a few sentences and rate our first year, our half of the year under Conte out of 5.
First sentence to start off with is I'm right. Second sentence to start off with is technically we finished the first half of the season in first place. Secondly, Conte's been doing great as I expected. He like we discussed over the summer, he walked into the perfect situation. You know, he had the players already there for a 3-5-2, so it was kind of a pretty simple transition, you know?
Yeah. And overall, out of 5, what would you say? What would you give his first half of the season, man?
I'd honestly give it a 4.8.
Very nice. That's a Mario level rating, man. Right down to the T. Mario, piggybacking off Christian, man. How are you feeling towards the end of 2019? Are you really happy with the way things have gone? And what do you give Conte out of 5?
I'm really happy with how things have been going. I mean, we're top of the table as we always hope for. Most importantly, the only letdown is that we underachieved in Champions League. It's not the biggest deal, but at the same time, it's like we should have a team that can compete in both the league and Champions League rather than dropping down to Europa League, which was a big disappointment, especially because we had it right there for the taking. But with all the injuries, the winter market can't come soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to add a couple of things. Like the Champions League exit was really, really disappointing on the day and the following day. But as the time has gone by, in context, we were dealt such a harsh blow with the injuries, and we were dealt the group of death for a second year in a row. There wasn't a single match in that group stage game that was considered an easy match. And, the boys handled themselves well. And I think, and as I've said this a couple of times before this season, this Inter, in the face of adversity, has been able to pick itself up, dust itself off by the next training session and come back with a really good result later on. We lost to Juventus, but then we went on that winning streak. We lost to Barca the first time, but we came back and won a few games after that to go back into first place in Serie A. We got eliminated from the Champions League, and we've backed it up really well by going back atop of the league again. We had that last-minute goal scored against us against Fiorentina, a situation that would break every other Inter locker room for the past maybe 8 years, but they came back and put 4 past Genoa. So, Christian, is that something that you've been really impressed with under Conte and the new regime, the ability to pick yourself up, dust yourself up, and go, hey, we go again, and we're going to win next time?
It's fairly impressive considering in years past when we lose, we wouldn't lose just one game. We'd lose probably like 4 or 5. We go on a small spurt. But the main thing that's kind of impressed me, and it's kind of in the way we lose. I know that it sounds stupid, but in the way we lose, it hasn't been like we've been overrun, if that makes any sense. It's been in games where we've been in there, we've been fighting, we've been in the match, It's not like, oh my God, example, Barcelona, like you brought up. It took wonder strikes from Suarez and magic from Messi for them to beat us, It's not like years past where they just convincingly dominated us and whooped us. No, like it took them some effort. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does. We whacked Genoa 4-0 the other day, man. I'll move over to Mario. Mario, what did you think of the match against Genoa? Roberto Gagliardini had his amazing Superman performance against Genoa like he always does. Romelu Lukaku absolutely bossed that first half. A goal and an assist as well. And then, I guess you could call it a secondary assist for the nice gesture he gave Esposito for his first goal. Mario, what stood out for you against Genoa, and how good was it seeing the boys put four past them?
I I only managed to watch like 10 minutes of the game, and at that point, it was just like a shit show at that point. So I didn't really continue to watch it because I was doing some other stuff. But looking at the score and all the feedback from the groups that we're in and talking to you guys, it's an important result going into the winter break with a big win, especially Genoa. They've been a really shitty team this year, but they're one of those teams that'll just turn up on a day and surprise the world because it's Inter, and whenever you play Inter, you have like the match of your career. But Lukaku has really he stepped it up so much for this team. You can just tell by the way he moves with Martinez, or even giving the ball to Esposito for his first goal with the senior team. But yeah, like Christian said, it's one of those kind of things where you lose one, you lose five. In this case, the mentality of Conte is really, really what I've been preaching for the past, I don't know, 2-3 years, since before Spalletti, because it's just been like a shitty, mediocre mentality, and Conte is finally instilling some sort of winning mentality, and he's brought in a bunch of winners, like Lukaku was brought in. Who else? Godin, Barella, who's just putting his head down, doing the work when he's fit. Sensi came in and took over the midfield. So it's little things like that just add up, and then it just shows you that this team is really capable of something special at the end of the day. And going forward, I think you get a couple solidifying signings. The team is going to be a problem for the rest of the year for the rest of the Serie A, and we can win this thing.
100%. I don't think there's many fans out there now that are starting to doubt the fact that we can go all the way. We're just going to have to need that lady luck and just continue on the way that we're going. So time to critically think a little bit and dig deep. Boys, Christian, your favorite, actually, Christian, I didn't really ask you about Genoa, man. Did anybody stand out for you against Genoa? What did you like most about whooping them 4-0?
Honestly, I watched the whole match from start to finish. It was just overall impressive, Again, Gagliardini stepped up. We needed somebody to step up. We didn't have Brozovic, no Barella. Sensi finally came back, no Toro as well. And it was nice to see someone actually, step up and take over. Gagliardini was just amazing. The kid has it. He's been pretty decent all season. He hasn't really had any bad games. Yeah, but he hasn't had bad games, but he hasn't always been amazing, if that makes sense. Like, I feel with Gagliardini, he's just very inconsistent. You know what I mean? If you get what I'm saying what I'm trying to say is he's a decent player that can be a good player if he just finds some consistency. Does that make sense?
He's either really good or really bad.
Yeah, and there's like no in between. This season, he really hasn't had any bad games, though. I can't really sit there and say he's had a bad game all season.
Maybe one mishap, but I don't think for the general consensus he's been bad. He's been actually pretty decent as a role player, pretty much.
I'd be more than happy to keep him next season on the bench. Like, he's exactly the kind of physical midfielder you bring on with 25, 20 minutes to go to just hold it down and give players like Sensi, Barella, and Brozovic a 20-minute rest if you're up by a goal or two. He's got those attributes in him. It's just that if you're going to play him from the start of the 90 minutes, he really needs that support around him. He can't dictate a midfield by himself, and unless he's got a Brozovic and a Barella, or a Barella and a Sensi, he will struggle. But you know what? He really didn't struggle against Genoa. But like a few teams in Serie A, I think that was a reflection of how poor Genoa are at the moment. I said in my match reaction, I'm like, it's hard to pick who was good for Inter because Genoa was so trash. Just as a cohesive team, we just completely ran over them. Thiago Motta has been sacked as well since that moment. So Pretty sure he has. If not, he will be sacked.
No, he was.
Yeah, he was sacked.
Honestly though, it wasn't really Thiago Motta's time. Like he, it's not the right situation for anybody to start coaching at a senior level. You know, you're coming into a real bad situation. The locker room's not doing so good, and it's just an overall bad club in a bad state. You know, I mean, sad to say because Genoa is one of those usual clubs in Serie A. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and go on.
And I just personally feel, you know, he came in at the wrong time, and you just hope that this guy gets another chance. You know, honestly, another player that kind of stood out for me during that match was I had two more. Was of course Lukaku, like Mario said, but Esposito, man, you know, for a kid to just step in, 17-year-old, all eyes on him at the San Siro, to bury that penalty the way he did. The goalkeeper made a nice dive, and he just put it away so well, you know?
Yeah. Like that's the kind of penalty where if you hit it a fraction weaker or a fraction more to the middle, that keeper makes a miraculous save. But he got the job done, bro.
And on top of that, his presence was all over the field. He created some turnovers. He made Genoa make some key mistakes. He won us some corners. He was pressing. I want to say about 95% of the time, and that's all you can really ask for from a 17-year-old in that instance, if you get what I'm saying. And also another one that stood out to me was Sensi. You know, when he came in, I don't know if you were in the group, if we were talking about it in your group chat or in the other one, Mario, where I said that Sensi needs to come in, even if it's 20 minutes, I'm risking him. And the reason is because I want to see where he's at. You know, if he's actually fully healed, or if he comes in and he gets hurt, and then when he gets hurt, now you know what you're dealing with, you know?
Yeah. Well,
he came in, he did well.
I don't really fully agree with that because even if it's not really for us to see, Conte sees it on a daily basis. He'll know if he's ready or not for those 20 minutes. It's not, like, oh, what can he do in these 20 minutes? He's kind of hurt, kind of not. We don't really know. Let's see. Conte sees him every day. He's going to know if he's fit or not. If he feels he's going to put 20 minutes in, he's going to put the 20 minutes in.
Well, look what
I was just happy to see him. Exactly. We've had this situation this season where we've rushed not one but two or three players back, and like they've been injured that same week again. But I was just really happy to see him walk off the field smiling, clapping. I was watching Sensi for the whole 2.5 minutes after the game finished. I was looking at his face. I was just looking for expressions of pain or injury, and he looked okay. So hopefully he went home, had a good Christmas, and everything's all good because I'm pretty sure we expect him to start the next game, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That was the thing I was looking for. I was looking for his off-the-ball movements. I wanted to see if he had any slight discomfort because as a player, you can tell, you know. You look at a player and you can tell if he has any discomfort. He didn't. He looked good. He was making his movements. His off-the-ball movements were crisp. He even had a couple shots in there. So you're saying that, like, all right, since he's actually back. So we know he's going to be good to go against Napoli.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll talk about Napoli a bit later on, but let's talk about a couple of the highlights of 2019. Mario, I'll start with you. Do you have a favorite match of our season so far?
Favorite match of our season? Shit. Off the top of my head, can you come back to me?
Yeah, sure. Christian, yours. You got a favorite match of your season yet, bro?
You know, honestly, you guys are going to laugh at me for this because it wasn't a win. And it was the Barcelona match, the away match at the Camp Nou. And
because we played so well.
The reason why is because when I looked at it, I finally saw the Inter that we needed. If you kind of get what I'm saying with this is, where I'm trying to go with it is we were playing the ball from the back. Barca was pressing high. We're still finding ways to get out of the back with our own possession. We were able to do quick counters. Look at the first goal for Lautaro. You know, if we bagged one more in the first half, that game probably would have been over. You know, we had Barca on their heels. And it was the first time we really got to see Conte ball, if that makes any sense to you guys. Because the other games, yes, we played well and we were pretty decisive. But that was kind of the game where you're like, okay, this is really starting to take form and starting to take shape. You know, and not just that, Yes, we lost to Juve, but the two games after that against Sassuolo, where we usually lose, we won. And then we beat Borussia Dortmund convincingly 2-0. So you're kind of looking at it, you're like, okay, this Inter is finally starting to take shape, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. Before I go back to Mario, I'll give my two favorite matches or my one favorite match. Like you guys know me, I love the early goals, man. I hate having to wait late. I hate being up by a single goal and waiting till the end. So for me, the derby was amazing because it was so one-sided. That was the poorest AC Milan I've ever seen against us, and we'll go back to Milan a little bit later. But I really enjoyed beating Torino 3-0 away in Turin in the rain. Similar for what Rivas said, this season has been all about, like, maybe just closing the gap and modifying a few of those variables that should be changed by a big team. Stop dropping points at Sassuolo. Stop dropping points every season in Sardinia against Cagliari. Stop dropping 3 points against Torino all the time. Beat these teams, and then you actually may have a legitimate stake at the Scudetto. The 3-0 against Torino, I think that was actually one of our best performances of the season when you consider the shitty conditions that we were in, and that's when our squad was actually starting to thin. We had Barella go off in that game as well, but I really enjoyed that. Mario, you got a game for us yet?
Yes, I do. I found it. It's my favorite game of 2019, and it is Inter against Rapid Vienna.
Because it was the first game without Icardi, right?
Precisely, and we won, and we fucking killed them.
He was
We
talking
did
about the
kill them.
2019 season we're in now,
Yeah.
genius.
What do you
Yeah, I was
mean?
about to think that. We'll let him go. We'll let it go, bro. Let him have it. Let him have it.
No. Mario, if that was the case, your best game should be the 4-0 thumping of Lecce without Icardi.
That
was
too,
good.
but that was the first one. It was like the iconic moment.
Yeah, no Mauro, where everybody scored. Brozovic, Sensi, Lukaku, and Candreva.
Fine, we'll
I
go
think,
with that one.
I think
then.
Politano got a goal as well. Oh, wait, against Rapid we're talking about now. I think Politano scored. I forget. That's like the whole year. That's too long ago. That's too long ago for me now. I've only been focusing on this season. But yeah, moving along.
Fine, yeah.
Favorite goal of the season so far. We've scored some pretty good ones this season, boys. So you got a favorite goal so far?
Shit. Go ahead, Mario.
Shit.
Mario, I'll kick it off, man. I'll kick it off. Barella's goal against Hellas Verona is going to be unrivaled goal
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Like that's the type of goal that I just leap up off the bed and I can't even get a scream out of my mouth. It's where you just get your hands to your face and you're like, nah, what the fuck? Like that's the real goal for me. And me being a big Barella fan, I'm very biased towards him as well. He had so many good performances after good performance, doing those little nitty gritty things with his passing in midfield, controlling it. But when he hit that, that's when the whole world knew, and that's when every Inter fan knew, this kid's really special. So I really hope we don't rush him back to fitness. Christian, you share the same sentiment? Is that your favorite goal?
Well, that's one of them, but I won't say that was the favorite. Honestly, I know it was recent, but it's definitely up there with Lukaku's second goal against Genoa. You saw the nice little passes Candreva had. He had a flick, and then Gags hit him with a flick right back, and then Candreva plays Lukaku, and he just powers it home. I thought that was awesome.
He's really finding his feet, bro, Lukaku. It's really, really good to see. And I was going to mention this at the start of the podcast. If you boys haven't yet, jump on YouTube and look at the Christmas party, the Inter Christmas party this year. This is definitely the closest and most unified I have seen this club in a long time. And it's all about stemming from the top down. People like the owners, the bosses, the CEOs, the directors, the management, the backroom staff, the players, their wives. Everyone's just happy and getting along with each other. And I thought that
That's
was
because
really...
there's no Icardi.
100%. Literally,
Obvious.
bro.
It's so obvious.
Yeah. Mario, your favorite goal of the season so far?
Wait. Before Mario goes in, I got one more. Notable mention. The Lautaro goal against Barcelona. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was crazy. Great finish, man. On his left bottom corner, like fucking 1 minute, 40 seconds into the game. Crazy.
Yeah.
Mario?
The Sensi goal against Lecce. That shit was fire. When he dribbled like two guys and then just ripped it from outside the box. That was dope.
Yeah.
That was one of them, and the other one I think Lukaku had one after we put a bunch of passes together. Am I right on that one, or am I thinking something else?
Not sure, but Lukaku's had a few great goals. Like he had
He's had
one
some
similar,
bangers.
yeah, the one similar to Genoa was against Brescia, where he cut in on the left-hand side. I think he ran about 36 yards with the ball, cut inside and smacked it in. Also, Lautaro's opening goal in like the second minute against Sassuolo, where he gets the ball on the edge of the box, cuts in, beats one defender in the box, and puts it home. These are the kind of goals that have really dictated, like really, really good.
Another good one was Brozovic's long-range goal against Lecce, where he hit that banger from. That was crazy.
Didn't Candreva hit one even further out, like 20 minutes after that as well?
Yeah, Candreva against Lecce. That's the goal I'm thinking of. That's the freaking goal of the season so far.
That's the one where like he made that face at Lukaku in front of the camera. Like, did you just see that, bro? What the fuck?
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Nah, dude. But also that Brozovic goal was just, it was class. It went to the top corner, if I remember correctly. He put it straight upper 90.
All three of those goals were fucking filthy.
Unbelievable.
I'm about to look up if it was that Candreva goal was against Lecce.
Yeah, it was.
It was. It was the last one. It was the one to make it 4-0, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But yeah, moving away from Inter, we're very lucky. We're having a good season. I'm very happy. Mental health is great. Waking up in the morning is great. And for another reason as well, our main rival seems to be going through a little bit of a rough patch. So we are going to talk about Juventus losing the Supercoppa to Lazio for two reasons. First, Juventus look trash. Second, damn, we've been saying this for a while. Lazio under Inzaghi, Christian Rivas. They're a machine, bro.
Bro, I've been saying Lazio's a good squad, man. They got players. And I've been saying all year that Juve's not going to win the fucking Scudetto, and they're not going to win a single trophy this year. That was just one trophy away from saying that I'm right. There's 3 more to go to say that I was right, because I like to say that I'm fucking right like I was about Sensi.
I was right about Sensi.
What did you think of Juventus losing the Supercoppa, Mario? And where do you see them regathering the form this season?
I think they're gonna try to buy like a whole new team this January.
Wow.
And then,
I mean,
for them, this is a panic for Juve. They haven't lost the freaking league in almost 10 years. Because I was doing my teams of the decade for Serie A rants, and I'm looking up Juve. I'm like, these motherfuckers haven't lost in 10 years, almost.
Yeah.
7.
Fucking crazy. Almost 7 years, whatever.
8. I think they've won 8 in a row. So they're
something like that. Yeah.
Their biggest problem for me comes when I look at their wage bill and their contracts. Like, I'm looking at that and I'm like, I don't care how efficient you are as a club. This is a freaking mess, and this is going to take time. You got Ronaldo on 30 million per season, looking pissed off 35. Day by day. 35. Aaron Ramsey doesn't play a goddamn game, and he's on 12 million per season. Rabiot is trash. I said it at the start of the season, bro. Any guy who needs his mother to be his agent and take a commission and a cut like that, this is just another watered-down version of Icardi. These people are toxic, bro. And not only that, Rabiot is not even that good of a player. I don't care what anybody says. He's playing in a league where they crunch the midfield nice and hard, and he can't turn to the left. He can't pass to the right. Guy is shit. Rivas, do you agree? What are your thoughts on Rabiot?
Well, I mean, I thought he was trash, honestly. Him sitting that long at PSG didn't do him no good. Before, he was a talent, but when he got benched at PSG and he didn't play for those 6 months, you remember where they were trying to get him to sign the contract, he didn't want to, and they benched him, didn't help him. Honestly, I remember I told everybody Aaron Ramsey's shit. I followed Arsenal in the Premier League here and there, and Aaron Ramsey was always fucking hurt or fucking hot garbage. So I was just like, that's a stupid-ass buy on their part. Again, I think Juve's biggest downfall is going to be Sadi and Ronaldo, in my opinion.
Yeah, very well could be. One person who's standing up for them is Dybala, and I've said this for a while. They made a big mistake 2-3 years ago when they really didn't marquee him as their franchise player and push their agenda towards him, because he's very, very talented, man, and I just feel like he's not going to break through at that club at all. But we'll see how Dybala goes a little bit more. Our next rival. So big ups to Lazio. Just one thing before we move on from them. I had David Amoyal on the podcast last week for anyone who got to listen to that. If you haven't checked it out, it was awesome. He did say that he expects Lazio to slip off just a little bit as the season goes on. just because he doesn't think they have that mental integrity that Juventus have, and they don't really have the big match experience and big time experience that Conte has to get them to the end. But with no Europa League, because they were dumped out of the Europa League, I could really see them winning more games than not, and maybe still sticking with everybody until match day 32, 33. Mario, do you think Lazio can really push for the Scudetto, or it's still just all a dream?
I think they actually can, until it's mathematically impossible for them, I am not counting them out. We saw Leicester do it. We saw I'm going to throw this in there completely random. The St. Louis Blues, they went from last place to fucking winning the Stanley Cup. So if they can do it, I'm counting them up there. So
you should have said the Washington Nationals who did the World Series.
I can't give you that kind of credit, so I'm going to continue what I was
19 and
saying.
31 to win the World Series, bitch.
Whatever. 1931. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it took since 1931 they've been playing baseball.
No, fool. Their record was 19 wins and 31 losses, and they turned it around.
All right, stop spamming this podcast.
Don't hate, appreciate.
All right, so where was I going? Until it's like I've been talking to David about it and Jerry Mancini, and I don't count them out. I think if anyone's gonna win the Scudetto, I think they can do it. Like Inter is known to slip up. We have slipped up. I'm not confident that they can keep first place, but I'm more confident in Lazio sneaking in the last 2-3 weeks and taking it like out of nowhere. I'm more confident in that than us keeping week by week first place consistently, because I know I hate being the pessimist about it, but I just know we can't. We're not going to sustain it somewhere, and I hate it. It bugs me, but
it's all right.
It's one of those things.
We've got Rivas in one section who's extremely optimistic, literally convinced that we're going to do it, and we've got Mario with his Inter DNA just saying, you're way too the heart. I feel you. I feel both of you.
Listen, I love telling Mario he's wrong and I'm right. Just like I told him about the Nationals, just like I told him about Sensi, just like I told him about qualifying for the Champions League. And we're going to add another stripe to my fucking shoulder when I say we win Scudetto and we actually win it. I'm going to have my nice little 10, 15-minute rant on here. I'm just going to tell the whole world to go fuck themselves because nobody but me believed it.
Bro, I would love nothing more than for you to be able to tell the entire world to go fuck themselves because we won the Scudetto. I'll pay that. That's not a problem for me.
And if we don't win the Scudetto, I'm still going to tell y'all to go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, I'll be laughing at you when Lazio wins.
No one's going to
be laughing. Notice how you heard crickets there.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, man. All right, boys, from two rivals, well, one big rival to another, this one's a little bit more comical. We can all enjoy talking about this. Bruh, the state of the red half of Milan. Bro, Christmas Eve in Milan, they lit up the Christmas trees blue. I said to my uncle on Christmas Day yesterday, who's a big Milan fan, but a very realistic one, I'm like, dude, in the 27 years that I've been alive, I have never seen this city so one-sided in terms of performance on the pitch, in terms of structure at the two clubs, in terms of fan attention, marketing, and the entire city of Milan focusing their attention on one of the two sides. Internazionale absolutely dominates the living shit out of the city of Milan at the moment. Rivas, off you go. What do you think about AC Milan? Can they even turn it around, bro? What's going on?
Hey, Mario, you remember when we discussed how stupid Milan was for sacking Gattuso? And I said it. If Gattuso stayed their coach, they probably would be in Champions League contention right now. Honestly, they're pretty retarded because that was the coach that finally gave them some sort of stability. You know, they were tied for fourth place. Well, third place technically between us, Atalanta, and them. And the only reason us and Atalanta went through was because of head-to-head, you know?
Yep.
And then they go off, and they go get Sampdoria as coach, and I'm just sitting there like, yo, your 4-3-3 or whatever system you're running is not going to work for Milan because you don't have the right players for your system. Milan goes and buys Leao, Theo Hernandez. They're going to splash some cash for some players that really don't fit Milan in itself. Piatek, Yo, dude, like Piatek just needs to leave, bro. Like for his own good,
Gotta
he
save
needs to
himself.
leave in January to any other team. It doesn't matter where. Fuck, I think he'd probably even do better in Genoa than he will with Milan. That Milan midfield
Yep.
is so trash. He's getting no service. Now they go and buy fucking Zlatan, dude. Like, I'm
I
sorry, but
know,
Zlatan's
bro.
done.
What? Oh,
He's done.
man.
He's
It
done.
makes no sense, bro.
Motherfucker, the MLS is different from the Serie A. You cannot compare playing those scrubs. They don't even belong on the City cheat team. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are that bad in the MLS.
It's
And
pretty
you're
bad.
celebrating just because you did that good in the MLS. Like, bro, get out of here. Rooney scored a fucking half-field shot. Rooney tracked all the way back to slide tackle to give a half-field ball to a guy that's only like 5'5" who scores a header. That tells you about how trash the league is, all right? So you thinking you're going to come to City A and you're going to be top scorer? Like, dude, I was all over Bleacher Report frying people earlier that were saying that, Zlatan's going to take Milan back to the Champions League in 2020.
Yeah, right.
They're going to be in there. I'm like, dude, are you fucking retarded? You guys are more likely to get relegated than to even make Europa right now. Like, get out of here, dude. You guys are on top of the bottom half of the table.
With the money they had to buy a technical, creative midfielder, someone who can get on the ball, integrate the wing backs, link the attack to the midfield, and create something. Because Paquetá, bro, I said this a while ago, and like it's just confirmed to me, he needs to move as well. Players like him with that Brazilian Samba Joga Bonito style flair, they struggle in Italy big time. Like we saw Toro struggle big time last season. How many games in a row did Toro get the ball with his back to defense, try a turn that he'd pull off 9 times out of 10 at Racing Club in Argentina, only to get absolutely crunched by the first defender behind him? This is Italy, bro. They're watching you until the last millisecond before they take the ball off you. And AC Milan are not a squad built to keep scoring goals at the moment. They just don't have a tactical identity. And Pioli, I respect him a lot. He's the greatest casual teacher of all time. He's a great temp. I'd always get him to temp my class if I was sick. But that's where he ends, man. And unfortunately, as a temp coach, as an interim coach, there's only so much motivation you can do and give your team. I guess that's a reason why they did go for Zlatan, to try and get that extra motivation in the dressing room. But bro, like Christian said, man is 38. And it's a 6-month contract. Do you really think Zlatan even gives a shit about the rest of this season? I think he really loves the city of Milan and he's looking forward to a 6-month paycheck and a really nice holiday for his wife and kids. But that's just my opinion. Mario, all you.
He's cashing out. I mean, if this was Zlatan 6 years ago, 33, 32 years old, okay, I get it. He can save it. But he's coming off of like 2 knee injuries. He's been shit in England. He went to the MLS where, like he's playing with people like me and Christian with you.
You could blurt that part out too, the whole 3 words.
No. So, I mean, yeah, I understand maybe he's going to bring like locker room presence, but at the same time, that presence could be the worst possible thing for the club where he's toxic as it is. He's either going to motivate you by scoring goals, but he's not going to be scoring goals. He's going to give you a personality, but not everyone's going to like him because they're all a bunch of fucking nobodies and shitheads. So you're not going to have the Pirlos, the Gattusos that you had last time, the Robinhos that they like to fuck around and do whatever, and they're all a team and they buy into the same bullshit because they're all a bunch of legends. You got a bunch of nobodies. You got Suso, Paqueta, and freaking Teo Hernandez.
That's fucking Kessie. Ain't nobody special there, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Kessie's he's a role player at this point. He's
Bonaventura.
I don't mind Bonaventura. In a better team, Bonaventura looks like a much better player. But in that team, like once again, you need players so good that they can elevate the rest of the team. And Milan are sitting on a bunch of 6.5 out of 10s who can't do shit.
You're being nice.
Sucks. Yeah, I'm being really nice. Really nice.
Bonaventura hasn't been relevant in literally 5 years.
Yes, since he left Atalanta.
The last time I heard Bonaventura's name was when he left for Milan and I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
because he was supposed to sign for us, remember? And they hijacked
it. That's good for them. They really fucking stole that one.
Well,
I mean,
in my And Bilia sucks. Borini sucks. Man, they all suck, bro. Like I've been looking at that Milan team right now, and I wouldn't take a single player in there to replace
I'd take
anyone.
Suso still though. Suso,
Yeah,
I like.
he's all right. More of a one-trick pony for me. He's better than Politano, though, in my opinion, on that right side.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
one
but
trick pony,
also
but his trick works.
the simple fact is that team's just toxic all around. If you take Romagnoli and Donnarumma and fucking Suso out of there and put them on other teams, they'll do amazing. Yeah. Side note: Donnarumma shows up to Milan's fucking Christmas party in black and blue.
Oh, that's nuts.
He's also like he also played in a young Inter team back in the day. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see him come to us as Handanovic's heir, to be honest. But
oh my god, that would be awesome.
He comes with a huge salary and Mino Raiola as his agent, so I'm not too sure if we want that kind of heat.
I don't give a fuck. I dealt with Wanda Nada. I'll take him.
Bro, we've got Marotta, bro. Beppe Marotta is the ultimate security guard. He is not letting anybody through to this nightclub without legitimate ID, man. Simple as that. He's doing real good work for us, and I hope it continues. Speaking about it continuing, that's our next topic of conversation. We are 3 days away, 3.5 days away from the January winter transfer mercato, and Inter is linked with. It's kind of the same way that we started the season. We're not necessarily being linked with bullshit names. We're being linked with names that we genuinely have a shot at signing, that the club is genuinely interested in, and we can get the ball rolling. It's just a matter of narrowing down which of these 4 or 5 players we can sign. So I've got a short list here, and make sure you boys interrupt me if I've missed anybody. But based on Calcio Mercato and all the other outlets for the past maybe 3 weeks, 2 months, whatever, our short list looks like this. Olivier Giroud as the striker, backup vice Lukaku. Marcos Alonso of Chelsea to fill the wing-back void, more specifically the left wing-back void left by an injured Asamoah and an inconsistent Biragi. We've got Arturo Vidal from Barcelona, linked to Inter for about the last 9 months. Beppe Marotta and the boys in charge are looking to put a 12 to 12.5 million euro bid in. I have no doubt Barcelona is going to tell us to go F ourselves for that. And I really hope we don't go past that 15 million mark. Rodrigo De Paul of Udinese is still rumored to come our way. I'm a little bit touch and go on that. I have seen more than enough of this Kulusevski guy to say that I really want him. For his age, his ability to link that midfield to attack, he's very attacking minded. He's more attacking minded than Brozovic, Sensi, and Barella. And you chuck him into a midfield with those 3 guys or those 2 guys, it's going to be dynamite. So I know that's a little bit of information to digest, but I'll start with you, Rivas. First of all, did I miss anybody? And second of all, who do you want? And third of all, who do you think we're going to get?
That's kind of rough. So I kind of understand your frustration with not wanting to spend for Vidal. I also think that it's one of those things where if you spend on him, you also got to remember what you're getting. We got rid of Nangolan because he was always clubbing and his off the field antics. Then we want to go get Vidal, who's just about the exact same thing. Barca might not tell us to go fuck ourselves just for the simple fact that Arturo stormed out of training when he was told he wasn't going to play in the Clásico. So, do you really want to keep a player that doesn't want to be there?
No.
Also, the other kid, the one from, what is it, Kurakowski, or what did you say his name was? The one that's at Parma?
Kulusevski, he's at Parma, but owned by Atalanta.
Yeah. I'd like to have the kid. No, don't get me wrong. I just feel it's just going to be one of those too hard of a transaction to try and get all done in a month, you know? It's like he's on loan at another club, so then you got to loan him back. And it's just a lot of extra shit to get him done, you know?
Yeah. Well, it looks like Vidal might be the main option then, man, because with a few other names in midfield have died out. Rakitic hasn't been linked with us much. He looks more likely to be linked with Juventus. Not that I really wanted him too much anyway, but I'd still be happy.
He's gonna go to Sevilla.
I'd still be happy with Arturo Vidal. It's just that like you got to be able to meet that dollar figure in the middle where the risk is still minimal. But once again, I have nothing but faith in Beppe Marotta to get the best deal for us possible. Mario, if Christian's done, off you go, man. Out of the 5 names we've mentioned, Who do you want? Who do you think we'll get? Do you like that list?
I like the list. I have really no complaints other than Marcos Alonso. I really don't think he's anything special. He was at Fiorentina right before he went to Chelsea.
Correct.
I guess he was there, right? But I'm not sold on him. Like the other names, I'm fine with all of them. De Paul, I love. Only problem is where does he fit into the midfield? Because he's like one of those wingers that drift central, but you can't really use him in a central position. Um, Giroud makes sense because we literally have nobody else. Esposito, uh, not fair to put such a weight on his shoulders yet. Um, if you have Giroud, he'll learn from all three of them, if anything.
Still got Alexis.
Yeah.
Alexis is coming back also. But also, Giroud adds a different kind of game because we like to cross the ball. We're losing the game. You take out Lautaro, you put on Giroud. You have two big presences in the box that'll win headers like every other header pretty much. So that's where I'm on that. And he's familiar with Conte and he's one of his boys, so it makes sense. Kulusevski, I love. I don't know if Atalanta is willing or if it's not really up to Parma because they're actually doing pretty well with him considering. But I would like to have him as a big presence in the midfield. He's like a lower level Milinkovic Savic on a good day. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like a not like a lower level, but like a cheaper version of him. Let's
Yeah.
say.
Look, because of his age and his versatility, I'd take him. Like when we were linked to him about 2 months ago, that's when I started paying attention to his gameplay and what he was doing for Parma. And I'm like, holy shit! If Parma let this guy go in January, they're about to dip 4 or 5 places in the standings minimum. And if I was Atalanta, I'd be like, all right, cool, we'll negotiate a transfer, but we're going to get this guy back for the next 6 months. So my honest opinion is that we do land him in between that 30 to 35 million mark, but he's going to play out the rest of his season in Bergamo. He's not going to play at Parma. He's going to be sold to us and play at Atalanta. And I think that's the best situation for Atalanta. It's an okay situation for us. Parma are going to lose in this situation. And I guess they don't deserve to lose in this situation, but it's an unfair sport at the end of the day. Rivas, anything else on the Mercato, or can I move on?
I say move on. Honestly, like I
Wait.
said, it's kind of hard for me to say to get Giroud. I mean, I do like the guy, don't get me wrong. It's just if Alexis is coming back, I don't see us getting Giroud. Just for the simple fact that I don't think we're gonna buy 3 players. I think we're gonna get 2 mids. Their management's confident with Alexis coming back that we're gonna be back on good track. And after Esposito's performance, I think they kind of like, all right, this kid has promise to him, so we might just be good with him. And I still think that we're gonna call it a day in the Europa League and just concentrate on Scudetto.
Yeah, fair enough. The only other rumor that it is that there could be a swap in the works between Politano and Llorente. So just very quickly, would you do it, Mario? Yes or no, and why?
What was that? Llorente for who?
Politano.
Politano.
It's tough, because Politano's better. Politano offers more. You want him more, but the way Conte sets up is the X factor, and that X factor literally takes all the traction towards a Llorente move if we're not going to get Giroud.
Yeah, if we don't get Giroud and we get Llorente, I don't hate it. I mean, Llorente still got some feet left in him. Definitely a big presence in the box, and when he does play for Napoli, he's not horrible. He does what they need, I guess, because he's different from Milik, who's been either a bum or like a saint for them. And Politano for us really doesn't have a spot, to be honest. I mean, you can't play him as a striker, you can't play him as a wingback. So he's in a really shitty situation. We do need that kind of like backup striker, which Llorente is pretty comfortable in because he's not starting in Napoli. So I think it could work out if all else fails. If we get Giroud or like we don't need or the content feels like we don't need you on anything, then we don't need them. Simple as that.
Fair enough. And you, Christian?
I honestly would prefer to sub Poyetano outright and not strengthen Napoli. I'd rather sell him to Fiore for cash.
Yeah. We could still probably coop like a good 15, 17 million for the kid, so why not? We are going to branch into the returning players now. The boys already touched on Alexis Sanchez. I'm very excited to talk about match day 18, match day 19. Not only is it going to be within the Mercato period where we look to strengthen our squad by 2 or 3 players, whatever it is, but we're almost looking at a good return to first team football for 3 to 4 major players as well. Gagliano is back, Sensi is back, Alexis Sanchez is back, and of course, Nicolo Barella will be back around halfway through January, maybe towards the end. If results go our way really well, we might keep him on the bench a little bit longer. But in terms of our fixtures, they're not easy. Go figure that the last 2 fixtures of the calendar year, even if it comes down to a Scudetto fight, is going to force us to play against Napoli in Naples and finish the season at the Miazza against Atalanta. So, Christian, first of all, how excited are you for certain players to come back? Who do you think is going to have the best second half of the season out of the likes of Barella, Sensi, Sanchez, out of those 3? And more importantly, and most importantly, how are you feeling about match day 18 versus Napoli, match day 19 versus Atalanta?
I think we win both of those games. I'm excited for Barella, Santi, and Alexis, of course, but I think Alexis is going to have the bigger impact the second half of the season. We saw when he was finally starting to get his feet going, it didn't look too bad. He actually looked like his former self. He was finding himself. He was opening spaces up. He was making runs. Remember the goal he scored in his first game again before he got red carded. It was a nice goal. He made a beautiful run since he fed him perfectly and he finished. I think he's going to be the biggest impact player the second half of the season, if you ask me. Sensi, we know what he can do. Barella, we know what he can do. It's just they're going to perform. They're going to do what they got to do. At the end of the day, they're going to perform. It's Alexis who we're really depending on to perform because we're starting to get to the second half of the season. We just can't depend on Lautaro and Lukaku. I think Alexis is going to be that rotational player, and I think he's going to be the one that really shines.
Yeah. Mario, how are you feeling about the players coming back? Who are you most excited to see? And how do you think we're able to close out the first half of the season against Napoli and against Atalanta?
I think we'll close out pretty strong. I'm guessing 4 points, 3 off of Napoli. And I think we will manage to tie with Atalanta because I think they're in pretty good form right now. Whereas Napoli's really, really just they're in a shithole right now. There's just all my Napoli fans are just all my friends are just like this is the worst Napoli fan they've seen since they came up from freaking Serie B or some shit. It's been really, really bad. There's just nothing going on. Gattuso, it's been 2 weeks. He hasn't changed much in the short time. When they were looking for like a quick pick me up and like a restoration all of a sudden, but he's not gonna do that right away. Especially with the team that they have. I don't think Fabian Ruiz lasts much longer in their starting lineup. I don't want to get too far onto that. But as for our players, definitely Sensi. I'm excited for because the way we play with him in our midfield, it's exciting. We gave it to Barcelona, one of the best teams we'll play all season, if not the best. We killed all the small teams we played with him on the field because, like Christian always says, his movements off the ball are just so freaking crisp that you could pick anyone apart. And then the way he reads his passes and the game, it makes such a difference, especially for players like Martinez and Lukaku, where they just need that midfielder to just do some of the work for them, not all of it, because they have to work off of him. He moves in, they got to move for him into that space. The other one has to move into Lukaku's space, whatever it is, whatever the case is. So those three are very, very important for our attack, and we've managed to scrape results without him, which has been really fortunate for us. Gagliardini's came in, he stepped up. Vecino, we don't hate him anymore for somehow.
Even Valero, even Valero put in work when it was time to put in work. He put in work for Conte.
Valero stepped right in and looked like the Valero from freaking Fiorentina that we signed in the first place. So I got to give all those guys all the credit for stepping up, getting it the results that we needed, and just filling that void that we've been desperate for the past, I don't even know how long, seasons. I'm going to put a blank number on that because it's been so long. And Alexis, I hope he brings that electric kind of feel that he has when he comes onto the field. If he can provide that and not get hurt, he'll be aces.
Yeah, absolutely. So from the information the boys given me, Mario's got 4 points over the next 2 games. I'm going with 4 as well for the safety option. I don't think I'll go with an optimistic prediction again this season after I said we were going to beat Fiorentina and we didn't. Christian, my favorite optimist, has 6 points and us on 48 over the next 2 match days. Now moving on to our 2 closest rivals because it gets interesting. Lazio have Brescia in Rome, and then they also play Napoli in Rome. So Lazio have a game in hand, which is going to work out well for them, and then they back it up with another fixture at the Olimpico. Christian, Lazio at home to Brescia, Lazio at home to Napoli. How many points do they get in those 2 fixtures?
4.
They get 4. So Christian's got 6 for Inter on 48 and 4 for Lazio, which will keep them a good 5 points behind us as well. Mario, Lazio at home to Brescia and Napoli.
6 points.
6 points for Lazio, which keeps them within 1 game touching distance of us. Now here's where it gets sexy. Juventus host Cagliari in Turin and then travel to the Olimpico to play Roma. Christian, how many points do Juventus get in the next 2 match days?
Damn.
It's
My
tough.
heart says 2. My heart says 2, but my mind says 4.
I'll take either one of those, to be honest. As long as they're not walking away with 6 points over these next 2 games, I'll be really happy. Really happy. Mario, how many points are Juventus going to gain over those 2 matches? Cagliari at home in Turin, Rome away at the Olimpico.
I think they come out with 6 points. They're just going to
be on that grind. They're just going to get that grind back.
There's not going to be a grind. There's going to be some bullshit involved.
Yeah.
So
probably.
I hate to give them that credit that they're going to get the 6 points, but they're going to get the 6 points. Let's be real. Cagliari, we love them. We hope that they can, continue their Cinderella story. I think it gets shut down.
But you've already seen the signs of them slipping over the last 2 weeks. You've seen the signs of a team that has good players, a good coach, and can function well. But like a season goes for 38 games. It's a marathon, and you've already seen in the last few weeks they're starting to thin out just a little bit. They're also a different beast in Sardinia than they are on the road. Not like the trip from Sardinia to Turin is a far one, but I don't think Cagliari is going to take anything from Juventus. And to be honest, I would really like to see them drop points against Roma because for the first time in a while, this Roma team under Fonseca is very, very entertaining. They're very good to watch. They play nice football. They get along with each other. And, man, I'll just say this, boys. We should have signed Dzeko and Kolarov at the start of the season because they can still bang, Christian.
No, I agree. Dude, honestly, Roma is looking good. That's why I think Roma beats them, but then I do think, like Mario says, fucking is Juve. They're going to come up with some bullshit-ass penalty in the, 97th minute. Same thing with Cagliari. I think Cagliari is going to play their fucking hearts out, especially Nangolan, who fucking absolutely hates Juve. I think he's just going to have a stellar game, and I think they draw.
That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. I don't think I've forgotten anything, to be honest, and I'm really happy with the way this podcast has gone. I'm wishing my great guest, Christian Rivas, a happy new year, brother, to you and your family.
Feliz Año Nuevo.
That's the one. And Mario, to you and your family over in New York, a happy new year, and thanks for joining me again.
Why the fuck we gotta mention New York, but we can't mention DC?
I'm sorry, bro. Sorry, Christian,
It's
to
a
all
better
your
city.
homies in DC and wherever else you are in the world, man. Because I don't know, you're inconsistent. Sometimes you're here, there, freaking everywhere.
Yeah, I got
New York
Houston
is the
coming up.
best.
You're right.
And from all of us here at Inter Worldwide, happy new year. Thanks for everything. Ciao, ragazzi.